Welcome to Moon Harbor Heroes. Today's issue is Faces, issue 26, Reckoning. On the cover, Faye stands in a doorway that takes up most of the page. Her back is to the reader. We can see her flail grasped in her full demon-clawed right hand. Over her shoulder, we can see the top of the lighthouse and Moon Harbor in the distance. Standing at the guardrail is Mary Louise Rogers, looking at Faye with a slight grin. We turn the page and our story begins.
So we turn the page and we see the news reporter that we saw the glimpse of earlier. We see her standing a fair distance away from the whole situation with the demons. And we hear, "I'm Rashida Amar and I'm reporting in with demon incursions across the city. We have some footage that shows someone wanted for questioning by Saber. It might be connected to this." And then they play the footage of Faye in demon form just slaughtering that guy. And then we're going to cut back to Faye in that same scene.
And we just saw the glass shatter outward, right? There was a blast of energy from inside.
Yes.
Can we say that knocked the guards at least down?
Yeah, absolutely. And we see them starting to come to their feet. And one of them, a distance off, their face is starting to become that indistinct shape. What do you do?
I'm going to turn to all of them. And there are pews in this place, right?
Yes.
I'm just going to lift my hands and just bring the pews up and just start making a box around them and just trapping them inside this pew. This wall of pews. Just essentially putting them in a box and not letting them move.
Are you trying to hurt them with this or just hold them in place?
I'm just holding them in place.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll to unleash your powers.
I think I'm going to use overcharge and just spend my last 2 burn to unleash my powers at a 10+.
All right. Tell me what those panels look like.
I turn and lift my hands up, and all of the pews just lift and just start slamming into place. And we see a bunch of them kind of scatter and try to move, and another pew lands in front of them. And essentially just log cabins them in there, just piling on top of. No gaps in there the way it's piled on. And it's just piled from floor to about 9 feet tall of just walls of these pews.
Excellent. I'm going to add that the pews are solid marble. In a couple of these panels, we see the guards firing their guns off and bullets not penetrating through. And then we get Faye turning to look at the one remaining, and it obviously has Mary Louise Rogers' face at this point. And she just smiles at you as you've grown very strong, Faye. I'm proud of you.
Fuck you and die. And I just want to toss my hand out and just telekinetically just throw this person across the room. Probably enough to break their spine on the wall across from them.
Cool. It happens.
I don't have to unleash powers or directly engage.
No, that just happens.
And then I think I go over to the stairs and I actually start walking up the stairs. I'm not flying up. I am walking up.
Okay. We get the panel of you coming up into the first floored level of the lighthouse. There's 2 guards standing there. They immediately turn, pointing guns at you. And standing between them is HR. He looks a little different. He's missing his left hand. He also seems taller, maybe almost a full 6 inches taller, which is a little unnerving because of how tall he already was. And his chest appears very sunken under his dress shirt. Another big difference is that his right eye is very clearly Supai's eye. He turns as you break up through, and you hear a rattling as he turns, and he breaks into just the biggest grin. Oh, Faye, I've been waiting for this. What do you do?
I pull the flail off the belt and I just hold it in my right hand. And I'm like, me too. Shall we?
And as you say that, there's a chain whipping towards your face. What do you do?
I want to take my flail and knock the chain aside. And then I want to mark a doom sign to use bolstered. Mark your doom track to use an adult move 1 time.
What are you planning on using with that?
I'm going to use wield your powers. My plan is to, when you wield your powers with precision or grace, roll plus freak. I want to essentially use my powers to turn his eyes into stained glass and then shatter them inside his head.
Okay, cool.
Do I have to do anything to knock the chain aside, or can I just do that?
I'm going to include that in the wielding your powers.
Great. I'm going to roll plus freak. That's a 12.
And on a 10 plus, choose 2. Damn.
I'm going to neutralize an opponent or threat, at least for now. Obviously, neutralizing HR immediately. In that, he will no longer be able to see, so when he's like whipping chains around, I'm just going to leave. And I think I want to take hold of something vulnerable to me. I think I want to pull the other chain from his arm.
I don't think that is vulnerable to you. I cannot explain why yet, but I do not think that is vulnerable to you.
Okay. Neutralize an opponent or threat, at least for now. Create something useful for my environment. Any ideas?
If you can't think of anything for the other two, you can just take the one. It's still going to get you past him if you don't want to deal with him.
I want to create something useful for my environment. As I knock the chain aside, I want the chain to recoil and hit one of the guards and just knock one of the guards down the stairs next to me.
Oh, I think if you want, he can just in his rage kill both of them.
Great.
Does that work for you?
Then I'll call that creating something useful for my
Okay.
environment. Yeah, so shatter his eyes and okay, let me give this a full frame. I'm going to neutralize an opponent or threat, at least for now, by shattering his eyes. And then because his eyes are gone, I want to create something useful for my environment by having him in his rage, like whip them both and probably kill both the guards.
Give me what the first bit of it looks like.
His chain is coming towards my face and like it's like an inch or two away and I don't flinch and the flail comes up and just knocks the chain aside and then I point 2 fingers forward directly into his eyes and I say, that doesn't belong to you. And then I like twist the 2 fingers ever so slightly and we see a close up on his mask, like the mask area of his face. His eyes turn into stained glass that match my wings, and then they both shatter. And I think, content warning, I think his eyes like start gushing like black blood out of his face.
He leaps backwards, or at least the top half of him does. It jumps back across the room a good 6 feet, and he becomes like almost a snake-like creature connected down the spine by this chain that runs up and then out the arm. He starts wildly swinging it around, whipping around the room, killing the 2 guards while he does. And you said, did you want to sneak past or just run past?
I think I want to like, I don't trust that he's not going to come up the stairs behind me. I'm going to go up the stairs further to head up to see Mary Louise Rogers. Yeah, that's my plan. I'm going to head up the stairs towards Mary Louise Rogers and just like, but I'm going to fly this time. Ooh, actually first I'm going to just telekinetically knock a bunch of shit over in the room to make as much noise as possible. Then I'm going to fly up the stairs.
Oh, excellent. I think we get several panels of him like wildly swinging this chain, slicing through things near every noise you create, just bellowing the whole time. And from there, we turn the page, and our next panel is back on the battlefield. It's Supai, a distance behind Hope, laying on the ground in the street, just screaming in pain. And Carl, go ahead and you're rolling this into the angler whale. Go ahead and roll directly engage, because I think this is when it hits.
Cool. These things can't be terrified or scared or anything, right?
No, I don't think so.
I'm trying to figure out if I want to do it with burn powers or not. Yeah, I'm going to charge my burn. Why not make it even more epic on the panel?
Okay, go ahead and roll to charge your burn.
Roll plus conditions, so 2.
Does Hope burst into flame when you charge?
You'll see.
Okay, God.
Okay, so that's a 10 on a On a hit, hold 3 burn. Yeah, that's it. So I have 3 burn.
Okay.
So I think the way that looks is that so at this point, Hope is still translucent blue, and then Hope picks up the big dung ball, and then from the dung ball, all these little seeds start sprouting, and then the entire dung ball turns into all plant material. And Hope hurls the plant ball at the whale. Then I have to roll for Reality Storm, I guess.
Okay. Are you spending the extra burn to not cause collateral damage, or?
Please.
Yeah, I'm going to spend to not cause any more collateral damage.
A quiet thank you from the human in the thing's mouth. All right, that's a 9.
So that's a 9. Yeah, so that means I get to pick 1. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to use this to create an opportunity for Brian, who is inside the angler whale.
Okay, excellent.
So Hope picks up the blue ball, and it turns into this forest of plants, and smashes it on the whale, and it just immobilizes the whale, creating an opportunity for Brian to do something.
I have some panels for that in a moment. I think as we see that, we see just every one of the small demons in the area start to pile onto Hope, and Hope's getting smaller and smaller as they just like compress Hope. And then we're going to cut inside the whale. It screams as it gets hit, and down its throat, Brian, you see a glowing, beating, like shriveled heart. Like it's a clear shot with its screaming throat wide open. What do you want to do?
Fuck that, I'm going to the brain.
All right.
And I love for that thing to just be there, just clearly in the panel, obviously its weak point. No, we're going to the brain.
Awesome. What do you do?
You know, warm air lifts. I am going to pull out my fire sword and bullshit science speak and float up its sinuses or whatever.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. I think I think you can probably just crawl through its nasal passages. This thing's disgusting. I'll give you that.
You see me cutting through things like vines, like I have a machete.
Phenomenal. And then we get you coming out into like a dark chamber with a just foul-smelling brain.
Okay. Man, this is certainly not the kind of thing I expected I'd be trying this on first. But all the key features seem similar enough. I'm going to spend one of my hold, and I'm going to try to take control of its brain.
What does that device look like?
So I hold up an arm to the tissue of the brain, and a whole bunch of electrodes come out and stab it in various places.
Awesome. Roll to unleash your powers.
That's not going to be good. 10!
That is a 10. All right.
With 0 practice, I definitely take control of its brain.
I think we get a panel of like this electricity zapping through, and our next panel's outside, and the angler shark like turns down to look down at everything on the ground. And Brian, what do you say through the angler shark?
Hey, about time you got here, Anagram.
And I think we get a panel where all of the demons on the street have just utterly frozen. All of them are looking up at this whale, not moving whatsoever. Ryder, Carl, you two are still on the ground. Supai is crumpled over in pain on the street behind you. What are y'all doing? Anagram is just openly gawking at this whale.
I want a panel of Ryder, like he saw the fist and he's got his eyes closed. So you're seeing under the mask, and then he opens one eye and he's like, what? And then I guess she shows a panel outside where the fist just stopped in front of Ryder's face.
Yeah, the demon's just like staring up at the whale, unmoving.
He just moves the fist out of the way, looks up at the whale, and goes, Asimov? And I think that's the entirety of Ryder's contribution to this at this point in time.
Supai stumbles to their feet and goes, Ryder, Ryder. And when you turn to look, there's a bit of blood trickling out of their missing eye socket. And they go, I think Faye's in trouble. HR had my eye and I just felt it explode.
I can see that. Do you know where Faye was at?
I have no idea.
I think some demons fly around, and Carl steps out from under the demonage and goes, "Wait, Faye's in trouble?"
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else that could do that to HR.
I could find her.
I think at this point, as the demon threat's kind of been handled, as Asimov's in the flying whale thing.
Yeah, I think in the background of these panels, we've gotten like the whale flying around a bit. The demons, like every once in a while, like take a couple steps towards it and just stare at it.
I think Ryder wants to look at Carl and be like, motorcycle, we got to get there. I can call on my computer and see if we can track her location.
Do you want to talk to her first? I can plug us in directly into her mind.
Can we do that on the way?
Sure, but then it's only us that can talk to her.
Ryder wants to actually just reach out, punch the demon that's got his fist next to him, punch it to the ground, just and then look at Carl and go, okay, if you need to call her. I'm gonna clean up some of this mess.
And when you punch it, it dissolves into that dust.
Awesome.
Seeing this, Anagram starts destroying these things as well.
Okay, everybody, grab my hand, quick.
Supai, you're like a hand.
I guess.
Pick one. There's thousands of them. I think before Ryder grabs Carl's hand, one of the hands, however many hands he's got at this point in time, he's gonna look at Anagram and be like, no, they've got it. They've got this. Okay.
Anagram looks at you and goes, I don't know if it's your girl doing this, but if it is, you need to stop her. That's what Saber thinks.
Oh, hey, Anagram's here. Hi, Anagram. I was a bear.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And she looks back at Felix. Is it her? Because we got footage of her turning into a demon and killing people.
It wasn't her. This was not her. We'll get to the bottom of who it was, but this was not her. Right now, she's in danger. So, I think you've got this mess.
I believe you. Saber won't. I'll slow him down as much as I can. Don't make her regret this, okay? I can't see this part.
Ryder just kind of sighs and goes, I hope I don't make me regret this either. And he turns around and grabs Carl's hand.
So we get the panel of like Ryder and Carl and Supai very reluctantly grabbing hands. And we turn the page and we see Faye standing at a door, like up, dividing the next level of this lighthouse. And Faye turns and opens the door and steps through, and the next panel steps out into Carl's mind sanctuary.
I turn to Carl and I'm like, Carl, not now. And we look down and there's blood on my hands from where I like snapped that guy's neck earlier.
And who is standing behind Carl? To be Ryder and Supai?
I think Ryder and Supai, right?
Yeah.
Hello, we're here to help.
Faye, Saber thinks you caused this.
Didn't I? At some level, isn't this my fault?
No, it's not your fault. This is Mary Louise's fault.
And I'm standing inside the room with her, and she will die now. So get out of my goddamn head.
The same voice bubbles we got before that only Faye could hear, we get those appearing around Faye's head, and it says, "There's not room enough for another." And everyone hears it at that point.
I think Carl jumps back and goes, "Who's there?"
I speak in perfect tandem with the voice, and I'm like, it's me. It's the other half of me. Now, Carl, I need you to let me go so I can finish this once and for all.
I think the other you just needs a bear hug.
Carl, I think we should let her go. I trust you, Faye. You won't let the demon take control. And you know if you do, we will be here to stop you.
Supai is staring at Ryder. It's like, no. She can't. If she dies, we're all fucked.
She won't die.
Yeah, she will.
No, I trust her.
I look at both of them and I'm like, you're both right. I won't die, but we are fucked. And Felix, you were wrong to ever believe in me because the demon has been me the entire time. And then I step out of the mind sanctuary back into the room with Mary Louise.
How did that voice get in here?
It's her demon. I'm leaving, says Supai.
Don't leave yet. We can get you healed, and then we can stop her.
I want you to roll to provoke. Faye, it sounded like you confessed a vulnerability or weakness.
When you share a vulnerability or weakness with someone, give them influence over you and ask if they honestly think there's hope for you. If they say yes, mark potential or clear one box of your doom track. If they say no, mark a condition or mark your doom track. I feel like I probably shared a vulnerability with Ryder, right?
Yeah.
So, Ryder, do you think there's honestly hope for me?
Of course he does.
I'm going to clear a box of my doom track.
Okay. And Ryder, that was a 9 on that provoke.
See?
Supai sighs and they just kind of deflate. They look at you and they go, This is a lot. We go, we stop her if we have to. One more try and then I'm out.
Ryder looks at Supai and says, "You've dealt with my dad. You can deal with him. You can deal with anything." Carl, are you in?
I'm going to roll to charge my burn. That's a 7, so I have to mark a condition, but add 3 burn. Okay. You see Carl just scrunch up into a ball, and the ball explodes in fire, and you hear like a familiar voice that you haven't heard in a while, where the voice seems to come from like 1,000 places at once, and it's Myriad, and he has the face of Smiling Phoenix, and he just goes, "I think it's time to go," and he just flies up to Brian and goes, "Yo, we need a ride now." I'm going to mark angry, by the way. I think that's fairly.
I love it.
Are all of you heading off? How are you leaving? I just want to get a panel of like you all heading so I know what you're doing.
Oh, we're riding the whale. That's not in question.
Yeah, I think that was the idea. And I think Ryder would grab Supai and leap from the ground onto the top of the whale.
Oh my god, that is such a panel. Brian, is that thing remote control? Have you climbed out of the whale or are you still in there with the brain?
I have to be in there.
I love you. You're a delight. And our next panel is Faye back at that door with the hand on the doorknob.
I don't think I actually put my hand on the doorknob. I think I stand in front of it, put my hand up, and just like telekinetically open it. I don't think I blast it open. I think it's like a gentle, like I like using telekinesis, like turn the knob and slowly push the door open so it like creaks really loudly.
And it opens up onto the top of the lighthouse. We have like the interior room with the light slowly spinning and then the large railing around the outside. And we have the like sun setting in the background and like storm clouds starting to roll in. We can see lightning in the distance. And we see like the silhouette of Mary Louise Rogers standing outside. And then she turns and goes, "You could have saved yourself so much trouble. We all know how this is going to end. She'll walk this earth."
It's precious that you think that, but you don't scare me anymore, Mary Louise, because now I am stronger than you have ever been. So you have two choices. You can either stop, or I will stop you. Just like I stopped your guards, and HR, and everyone else that has crossed my path. I will not hesitate to tear your throat open and revel in the blood pouring out.
She tosses you a cell phone.
I look at it.
On the screen is a video feed of your mom tied to a chair with 2 guards of the cult standing next to her. Your move, Faye. All I need to do is buy time.
I look up at her and I'm like, you killed my mom once already. Rebecca was a surrogate. She was the woman who raised me, and she was amazing. But you know what? If it's her life versus the life of everyone on this planet, I choose everyone any day. Test me. See if you're wrong.
She says the word go, and you hear a gunshot from the phone. Then the feed goes blank.
I immediately use Portal to be right behind her, and I slit her throat open.
I'm going to have her say one thing before you do that.
Great.
She says, the next one's Bert. What do you do?
I'm going to mark bolstered and use an adult move. I want to wield my powers, and I want to, using my stained glass magic effect, I want to reach inside of her and shatter her heart.
Roll it.
This is the most important roll I've ever made. Fuck me.
That was a 5 for our listeners.
Okay. Tell me what those panels look like.
Can I say how that fails?
No, I want you to tell me what it looks like as it succeeds.
Okay. I am standing right behind her. I think I portaled right in front of her when I portaled to her. And I'm standing right in front of her. And I put my hand on her chest. And we see a panel of her eyes kind of widen. And in the reflection, we just see the demon standing there. And then we pull back and we just see stained glass just covering her chest. And then the stained glass just falls away underneath my hand.
And then I think a couple of things happen. First, I want you to mark a doom.
Like a full doom or a doom track?
Mark a doom track.
Plus the bolstered?
Yeah. And I think this is when the whale arrives, as this is happening.
I look at them as they arrive, and I'm like, I have to go save Bert. And then I'm going to use another portal to land in the scene with Bert.
We see one of your portals rip open in a bathroom, and you step through to hear Bert humming to himself in a very foggy shower.
Do I have to go all the way through to hear that?
I think we get you stepping halfway through, so you can still step back through if you want. He is not in danger. I'm going to tell you that honestly, if that's part of your decision.
Then I'm not going to step through. I'm going to step back, and then I'm just going to collapse to my knees and scream.
Moon Harbor Heroes is produced by Anthony Sheets and TP Huth, and edited by Anthony Sheets. Anthony can be found on Twitter at Icy New Year or at icynewyear.com. T is the host of Incubator on Air, a new play podcast available on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Play. She can be found at T Huth Playwright on Twitter or TPHuth94 on Instagram. Faces is GM by me, Anthony Sheets. Asimov is played by EXPHP. You probably won't find him at itsexphp on Twitter, but it's worth a try. Carl is played by Simon Meskins. You can find him on Twitter as Jill Bareka. Faye was played by T. Huth. Ryder Typhon is played by Kaido Kane. Kaido is a Twitch personality and loves their 3 mischievous cats. You can find them at the Versian on Twitter, and as Kaido Kane on twitch.tv. Our logo was designed by Beautiful Beasties. She can be found on Instagram at beastly.doodles or at patreon.com/beautifulbeasties. The music in this issue is Black Vortex by Kevin MacLeod. A link to his website and the license will be in the show notes. If you want to get a hold of us, email us at moonharborheroes@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at moonharborcast. If you enjoyed this issue, please leave us a review on iTunes and tell a friend. Word of mouth and 5-star reviews are really the best way for us to keep bringing these stories to more people. If you'd like to support us financially, check us out on patreon.com/moonharborheroes. Supporting us there will give you access to bonus episodes each month. And thanks for helping us save the world. We'll see you next issue.